Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? Welcome back. Today we are working on our GUI framework, and today's topic is trying to get a few more widgets to get closer to it being actually usable. So this is our current state. Current state is we have a couple buttons, we have some labels. Our text looks super janky. That's it. But we have kind of like got to the point now where it kind of feels like we have like a good idea of what this like UI framework should do. The way it works is we have this like widget type, and the widget defines like a set of APIs that it expects a widget to implement, right? So some of these are optional, but generally it expects like, okay, I'm going to tell you to render somewhere. Here's like where you are in pixel space, and here's where the window is in pixel space. Do whatever you want, right? And then he also says like, okay, how big do you want to be, which is like used in layout. And that's kind of it. Then he could say like, hey, here's like, do you have like, here's the current input state. So like, here's where our mouse is, here's what keys are pressed, etc., etc. Do you have anything that you want to do with that input state? I guess he doesn't actually ask that right now, but he could ask that. We have this concept of like an action type, which is like a generic thing where like widgets could return these action types. And when those actions are like fed into the widgets when they're constructed. So the app will go like, hey, I want to make a button. And button, when you're clicked, could you tell me to do this thing? And the button's like, okay, sure thing. I'll just like write that down. And then when I click you, here you go, buddy. And that's how we like interact with a UI between the UI framework and like actual work. We have this like layout system, which basically just has like a cursor on the screen. And every time we like push a widget into the layout, we go like, hey, how big do you want to be? Okay, well, here's where you will be. And there you go. Then we have like a big global render function that just like looks over all the things in the layout and renders them using like OpenGL. Rendering is pretty straightforward. We have like our button is like says like, hey, I'm gonna like figure out where I am in OpenGL space relative to the window that I'm being rendered in, and I'm gonna call render. And in that render, we just use like an OpenGL program to render like a plane and do some like fragment shader stuff on them, whatever. But it's really not too bad. It's just like draw a box in OpenGL, right? Not too crazy. The text rendering stuff a little harder, but we've kind of like hand rolled our own like TTF parser and started like trying to put those things on the screen, which is why it looked so jank, right? But we'll get there eventually. Okay, so today I want to implement some stuff. So we're working on this thing to try to replace OpenGL or IMGUI in our image editor, right? So if I like draw a smiley face here, there's all these like parameters I can tune for this current brush, right? I can say like, show me the distance field, show me like use this brush, let me adjust these parameters, let me set like a color in here. All of this stuff we're eventually going to need widgets for. And so I think what I want to tackle first here is the concept of this like drag slider thing that they have. So this is kind of like an unbounded slider, which is like very useful. So what happens is you like click on this thing, you drag out of it, and when you are done, like this, just like kind of like adjust the value. Simple, right? So I want to implement one of those. But before we do that, we have a slight bug to fix that we had at the end of last stream, where our button's working okay, right? It has like 3 colors: hover, unhovered, click, and then it doesn't trigger until I release. So if I like release here or click off and release, it like does the expected action. But the unexpected thing is if I click here, drag in, then release, that counts as a click. And that's because there's no like concept of history in our GUI framework right now. It's very much like this frame, we're just doing whatever we see. So the mouse is down on our button. If it's released, we'll do our thing. So I want to do is I want to change this to be like a YouTube commenter suggested this. We just write down where we clicked. And that's a very simple fix. Very, very, very simple fix. So in our input state, we have this like structure here, and we should just say like mouse down location. And this will just be a optional mouse pause, right? And now this tells us if we are clicked, I guess. Maybe we have this, and then I'm trying to decide how do we determine if we're clicked. It would be nice if this input state told us both if the mouse was down or if the mouse was released at this location at this frame. So I guess we'll have mouse down location and mouse released. I guess that's what this frame action is for. I see. So we can kind of say if the mouse was released this frame, then we do something. Sure. Sure. Okay. So maybe wherever our widgets exist, so our button widget, right? He kind of previously had like a click thing that was called specifically, um, I think when the mouse was released, if the frame action was released and we're in the bounds of this thing, call click. I think probably it makes sense for like the input state just have like the frame action passed in as well. So stuff that happened this frame, as well as like current state, all of that goes into input state, and that is now who's going to be responsible for like performing an action. You know, maybe this guy returns a thing. Sure. Um. Yeah, that seems reasonable. Seems reasonable. So now all of this becomes simpler. This guy returns like an action type. Okay, click goes away. Fuck the click function. And if we have a set input state, we pass in this thing, and we said we wanted to pass in the frame state as well, which is input state frame action. That's what we said we wanted to do. Okay. So now this guy needs the same thing attached to him, so it's like frame action here. Input state frame action, boom. And this was going to return a potential thing for us to do. Click goes away, fuck the click function, which means that the button that we currently implement, wherever the fuck that is, here, button. This guy now is not going to input a click function, and his set input state needs to take in a frame action, okay, and return an optional action type. Okay. So if the frame action was released, we go, okay, return our click action, please. Otherwise, return null. And now what we can do is we can actually say, how do we want to do this? We want to say if we were released here, if the mouse is down in our thing, more importantly, and the input state the click started in the button. So we have like the input state dot mouse down location. If this thing and the location, if the bounds of the thing contain the location, like this, okay, then we go into the clicked state. Otherwise, we don't care. Else, if we are yeah. Otherwise, we've already checked that the mouse is in the bounds of the button, so we can say that our state is hovered. And here is where we will set the return action. Yeah. This is gonna be like an action type is equals to null, then we return red. So that's all the input handling for our button. Does that fix it? Does that work? 692 needs to start with our input state mouse down location equal to null. I think that should fuck. Expected this, found void, 516. Sure, there's nothing to do in that case. Mouse down, true, 266. That's true. If the mouse goes down, we now say self mouse down location equals to mouse pause. And here we say self mouse down location is equal to null. But we kind of want this to happen like next frame. which is kind of weird. We kind of want like the mouse down location to go. Okay. So that means that we kind of want this to be like mouse released. We kind of want to be like self mouse released is equal true here. And then say like if self mouse released, self mouse down location equal to null on the next iteration here. Right, we kind of want to do it like this, which kind of means that the frame action is kind of useless. Kind of means that maybe in the future we'll bring it back, but for now it doesn't need to exist, because now this is kind of like a one frame flag, you know? So everywhere we're using frame action, fuck that shit, you know? We don't actually need it. I lied. I'm a liar. Okay, frame action. Let's just get this shit out of everywhere. So this is now like just if input state mouse released. Boom, 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 boom. Can this thing fail? No. All right. Fuck. 210. Return. Okay. All right. Moment of truth. Click, release, hover, click, release. He's not emitting the action, which is bad. It's kind of bad. Why is that? Why is that? It could be that whoever is using this thing, dispatch input, we do set the return action. Okay, let's go back to the button. Here we go, and let's look at this again. So, if the mouse down location is here, if the mouse down location contains here, and mouse released, okay, I don't really see a problem with that, to be honest. Can we just like breakpoint here? Or maybe we like log, maybe that's easier. Debug, print, released. Let's just start here and see if that's happening. And we can also log mouse down in area, hovering. We'll just go see where that takes us. Hovering. So here we should see, okay, first of all, the fact that it's saying hovering, okay, hovering, mouse down in area. We are not seeing this ever. Mouse released is this thing. Input state mouse released. Yeah, so this is just never true. Did we fuck up the input state thing? Did we fuck up when we set mouse released? Aha, we did. We need to keep the mouse down location on the frame where it's released. There we go. Maybe when we click and drag on, we kind of expect it to be in the hovering state, to be honest. Feels a little bit more likely. So here I want to be like, if, what are the states here? Clicked, in box, and still in box, mouse over box, or none. Those are like the three states, right? So if we clicked in the box, it's like this. So I guess we just want to do like this is not equal to null, and can we do like merge these two if statements? What's the easiest way? Because working with this like this like unwrapping is like a little annoying. It's almost like a function makes more sense here. We just do like a mouse down in box and still in box. Is that what the state is? Mouse down in box and mouse still in box. I guess that's kind of what I want to know, right? It is kind of what I want to know. And so that's just like all of this stuff. You know, if we're in here, I guess we can do like const mouse like lock is equal to this, or else return false. Nice. That gets rid of an indent, which is kind of nice for us. Then we also take in the bounds, right? And then we say return bounds. Oh, wow, that actually like makes this a lot easier. We just call like return bounds contains. Wow, functions are kind of cool, guys. Did you know that? Wow. So now we can go like if mouse mouse down in box and mouse still in box given the input state and the bounds. We do this stuff. Otherwise, we're hovering. Yeah. Okay, so now if I click outside and then drag inside, we are hovering. I click off on. Oh yeah, that feels good. Yeah, that feels pretty good. I'm down for that. All of that seems to be working, and now we are in a pretty good spot to start implementing the drag value. Because now we have the ability to check where we started the drag from and where we are right now, which is pretty sick. Okay, get diff, get add. Why am I going to type get diff if I'm not even going to check it? I deleted some unused stuff. I'm not going to check it. Get add tissue. We'll just call this whip, and then I don't have to look at the code. Button smile. All right. So let's make some sort of float dragger. Okay. So const float drag float. What do these guys return? They return like a widget with some action. Now, when we if we make a float dragger, surely we are going to output some sort of request to change some value. That seems very likely, right? So I think that this is going to be a function that takes in our like action type and returns a type. And then this is return struct. Okay. Now, this thing is going to have some sort of like drag action, right? He's going to stash that shit and he's going to return it when the mouse moves, which makes sense. And then what else is he going to do? He's going to have some sort of like text buffer to render. Maybe he's just going to put a label inside that like shows the current value. Right? That seems pretty reasonable. And is that all we have to store here? We probably, because we also need this like text renderer. Oh no, but this just comes from the label. Yeah, that seems pretty reasonable. So how do we like construct this thing? Right, we're gonna like initialize this thing and he's gonna return some sort of widget that is associated with this action type. Maybe this thing's failable, we don't know yet. Surely we're gonna pass in the like value, right? And is that kind of it? Maybe. Presumably we're gonna have some sort of like drag float style, right? Almost certainly. Maybe we put this here. That's fine. style. Style, jeez, struct. And here he's gonna have like a desired width. What did we do for the button? We had the padding around. Yeah, right. We said like either try to like match the size of the content, or just like you can override width and height. I think we're just gonna force like a width and height, to be honest. Probably in pixels. Okay. And okay, we are going to kind of center we're gonna like create a label, right? And the label is gonna be like some size. So label initialize, and he says we need an action type. We're not really gonna use it, so you just pass it in here. We need an allocator, sure. We need an allocator. We need some text. So what is our text gonna be? It's gonna be stood for. We're gonna have like some sort of text buffer. Okay, we're gonna be like buff stood format buff print of the buffer and with some text. Sure. Text, it's like this, and so we can pass the text in here. This can fail, which means that this can fail. Okay. And is there anything else to think about here? Surely. This thing needs like shared label state. All right. We'll just kind of rip that shit in here. Okay. Surely, if this thing fails, now we do like a label deinit. Okay. And for now, let's just render that. So we have some sort of like vtable. Widget vtable. Which needs to be populated with our action type because the widgets can return an action, right? And what goes in this thing? All of these 4 things. So deinit is going to be self deinit. We need some sort of self. Okay. These kind of go like this. I guess we're going to have all of these things. And I guess we kind of wanted these function signatures, to be honest. Kind of want these just be like down here. Okay, so this is deinit. This is render. This is get size, and this is set input state. Okay. Now, why is the thing pissed? Probably because this equals null. Expected EOF found. What have I fucked up here so bad? Oh, this stuff. Right. So now we can just do yank word paste equals self dot find go to end of fuck, I fucked up the macro. Yank word paste equals self dot word change comma back to the end of the beginning line, put a dot, go boom. God, macros are sick. All right, there we go, we're back. Okay, so what does our deinit function do? He needs to, at the very least, destroy our context. So we say const self is a pointer cast, a line cast of CTX, boom, and our self is a self pointer. And we probably have to do some other stuff. Self label deinit, surely, with the allocator. And the drag action, I think, doesn't need to be deinitialized. I don't think. I guess that's something that we need to think about at some point. Maybe somebody might pass something in where they want that, but I think it's fine. Render, I don't know. Size, I guess we do need to stash our size, which is kind of strange. Maybe we shouldn't have to do that, but whatever. Return self size, boom. Okay, simple, and then set input state. For now, can we just not do that? Let's just not do that for now. Okay, so render, we're just gonna call like self-label render for now. We'll just pretend that we are a label so that we can get some sort of feel for if this thing works. And so now we should just be able to like return a widget where our context pointer is a pointer cast of something that we haven't allocated yet. I guess. Drag float. And our vtable is just a widget vtable. Okay. Oops. Well, I don't know how the fuck I did that. I must have pressed a number. Okay. And then so we need this like drag float thing. So this is going to be a alloc create of the drag float type that we're using. Which, you know, we'll be good citizens and say, you know, maybe this thing will fail. And if it fails, unallocate yourself, please, sir. We need to set the content of this thing. So we literally just have like the label right now and the action, which literally doesn't exist yet, which we probably need, huh? So we need like some sort of like on drag that we kind of stash in here. Okay. The style we are just not using right now. Surely that's important, right? Surely we're taking the width and height out of this thing. Oh, this is a pixel size, my bad. So can we just like do this? Boom. And then we just return like size equals style size for now. I'm sure that there will be other parameters to this thing later, such as how much we are going to like jump by and stuff. Maybe like style is the wrong words here. Maybe like params. Maybe like things that twist like the way the thing behaves. I don't know. We'll kind of see how it goes. But otherwise, it doesn't seem like guaranteed to fuck up. So now can we just like throw one of these things in our layout and just kind of see what fucking happens? I guess so. We have like our like little toy fake application somewhere here, and let's just say that we have some sort of like, you know, adjustable float, right? And he will start at 1.0. Let's make it so that when we get an event that is currently called change color, which it doesn't change a color, we'll say change float. Here's the new float value. Now this is kind of strange. We didn't account for this. We cannot just pass in a value because the drag float is going to give us a value back out. So we actually need to pass it a function that generates one of these things, right? So we need to make a function that says like make change float that takes in of f32 and returns a UI action. And this is going to return change float equals val. I think that's fine. That seems pretty reasonable because now we can pass into the drag float thing. Instead of this, we're going to pass in a like drag generator. There's going to be a function pointer that takes in a float and returns an action type. Oh, that's still clean, man. I love it when things just kind of work. So on drag, it's going to be like, can we make this a type? Drag generator or action generator maybe, because it's kind of like specific to us. Okay, and then this is gonna be like on drag action generator. Oh yeah, dude. Okay, so back to us. Did we ever try to make this thing? I don't think we did. So we say like try drag float of UI action. Initialize this thing with like our allocator, the value. So the value comes from app.adjustable float. That's the value that we are displaying. Then we have some sort of like style, drag style, I guess we will call it for now. What else goes in here? label state. Okay. Drag float, and then we will say layout push widget of alloc drag float. All right. Sure. We need some drag style there. So this is going to be a drag style, float style with like size equal to, I don't know, width equals 100, height equals 100 for now. Okay. Let's just see what happens. Fuck. 822. So he's like, I expected 5 arguments, found 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, what am I missing? Oh, on drag. So it's gonna be the UI action make change float. Okay. Fuck. That's true. On initialization, we do need to create a self, not a drag float. That's a really good point. This guy's always whining. Label widget 649. He needs a widget of associated with action and type. True. Everyone uses action type. Action on drag 676. So this is a drag generator here. Okay, and then the error unit is ignored at push widget, wherever the fuck that was. Try here. And we now have to handle, if we see like a change float, we say, okay, app.adjustable float is equal to val. Wow. Seems reasonable to me. So there's a little 1 down here. There's a little 1. Pretty sick, pretty sick. I guess technically the generator probably should take in like a context pointer that has the ability to like, that we can like inject into that thing, but we can always just deal with that if it ever comes up. It might not ever come up. And then we don't have to deal with it. Okay. Sure. So now, it looks stupid as fuck, dumb as all hell. So first of all, let's get rid of those like hello labels. Let's just maybe make 1 of them. Just so that we still have an example of a label, but now we can, okay. So this is drag float. We have to, first of all, let's change this thing to be like wide and less tall, right? To fit like the rectangle feel, okay? And then let's I guess the background, if we are going to take inspiration from IamGUI, they kind of have like the same background for everything and the same hover for everything. I kind of like the idea of that as well. So I think that we're going to have some sort of like default, well, maybe we like pull out some of these colors here and we'll be like const this, this, and this. Okay. And we can reuse these in our slider style. Seems reasonable to me. So this is default color, hover color, and click color. I think that this is probably gonna putting this in global namespace is gonna be a problem for us. So can we just do like style, like default, like global style maybe? Yeah. If we just shove these things in a struct, then it's okay. Because then now we can just be like global style dot here. Boom, boom, boom. Hell yeah. Is this using rect cut for layout? What the fuck is rect cut? We were just like drawing some OpenGL stuff. We're just like, layout is like we have a cursor. We go, where is the cursor? Okay, we will move the cursor now because you gave us a widget. How big is the widget? We'll move it by that much. And then we go, hey, widget, here's where you're supposed to be. Draw whatever the fuck you want with OpenGL. So the widget can lie, cheat, and steal, but he probably won't because we wrote him. Or he'll do it unintentionally and we'll just call ourselves little dumb idiots. But we'll be okay with it. Okay, so now our drag float style is going to want to have stuff like hover color as well as a default color. Okay. And what else do we want? Like an active color? Maybe, do we want an active color? Do we want it to change while it's dragging? I think that makes sense. Active color. I think that makes, all of these make sense. So here we'll say that our hover color is global style hover. Default is global style dot default. And the active color is global style dot click color. All right. Now we pass that shit in. Surely this guy's going to want to like stash that shit now. So then here he's going to be like, give me the self style size. And on render now, let's just try to render a box that matches like our expectations here. So I guess we're going to have like the same thing as the button widget where we have like a state in here. Right, so we're like default dragging or hovered, right? These are kind of our three options. And then we're going to do something similar where we really, by default, we're in the default state, right? And when we have some input now, we're going to be like, it's going to look similar to the box, I guess. Like that function, it like that button function that we wrote with like that funny name, mouse down in box and mouse still in box. I guess that's not what we want. Yeah, we just want like mouse down in box. So if input state mouse down location is within our bounds. So I guess maybe at this point it makes sense for this guy to just have a like mouse down in bbox, which is going to take in like self contains mouse maybe. Yeah, that makes sense. We're going to be doing this all the fucking time. Okay. So this is just like return mouse pause x. I guess we want like we can either cast our bounds to floats or the mouse position to ints. I guess we'll cast the mouse position to ints. So like const. I guess we just return like return self contains. There we go. Yeah. And this is like float from int mouse pause 0 float from int. I think it's actually mouse pause dot y actually, not 0 and 1. So it's like this. There we go. Because now we can just be like, if widget bounds contains mouse pause of if the input state mouse down location exists, then we do something. If the mouse down location exists, sorry, I'm thinking. If this thing exists, we say if the widget bounds has the mouse down location, then we are in the, we need a self pointer here. We do need that, that's true. The state is equal to dragging. There we go, that's what I was looking for. Else if the input state mouse, else if the widget bounds contains just the cursor in general, then we are in the hover state. Okay. And then if here, if the mouse was released here, we want to like trigger an action, right? So we say like, yo, can we, you know, hit us with whatever the new value is? So we can just calculate the value as like, actually kind of unconditionally, whether or not the mouse was released or not, we want to generate the new value so that we can like see the thing applying, right? So no matter what, no matter what. You eat up a layout rectangle by cutting pieces out of left, right, up, down, which in turn create new rect layout. Rect equals this. I don't know. We just got like a cursor. That's what we're doing. So here we just say like return is equal to drag generator with the new value. So the new value is going to be like the current mouse position minus the mouse down location, which is lock here. I guess we'll call it down lock. Right? We go like, subtract wherever you were. These things are both I-32s. This is, no, these are F-32s. Oh, and these are like annoyingly not like subtractable things. I guess we can just use the X value though, in which case it will work. And then, so this is like the offset here. And then can we just like, for now, we'll do something like, we need to stash the input value, I guess. And here we go, like, give me the value plus offs times like 0.01 or something. Probably. I don't know, man. So let's see what happens if we like fucking do this. No field name size 692. True. We just stash the style now. We keep that shit for later. Okay, so oopsies, wrong program. Okay, so this doesn't seem to be doing jack shit. Because we actually didn't tell the widget that we have an input state function, which would do it. This is the wrong way, int from float. And like theoretically we should probably round here. Or else he won't be very happy. Okay. Okay, so now what's happening is this is acting more like a joystick. Which is honestly not that bad. But I think it's less useful. So that's kind of interesting. The drag value needs to store not like the value at the time that it was constructed, but like the value that it started with when you started the drag. Which means that we're probably back to the idea that we need some sort of like cross-frame state. We've been managing to avoid it up until this point, but I don't see how we can get away from it here, right? Because like, you need to just remember. You need to remember what the value was when you started. Is if bracket var, sort of like walrus operator in Python. I don't know what the walrus operator is, but it's like if this thing is an optional, extract the optional inside, basically. Right. So if you have like, where the fuck can I like type somewhere? If you have like ret is a nullable action type, you say like if ret action. This is like if this thing is not null, then action will be how do I action type like this? Okay. Okay. So the other option here is that we show the value in UI, but don't send it to the app. That's another option, but I think I don't like that because in IamGUI here, if I'm like dragging this thing around, it's like applying as it goes, right? Which means that like every frame he's being like, okay, like application, you get this value. Here you go. But he's definitely remembering internally where the click started. So I think I like that. I think that makes sense. So I think that we will just have to do a refactor to support interframe state. This is a thing that does not exist right now, but should exist. So we'll say drag value prototype. And I think that what we want to do is we just want to like somewhere be like layout is a layout up here outside the loop, right? Easy. Easy. Okay. Then we are going to like probably push everything that we want to put in the layout like off rip. Okay. So all of this stuff just kind of happens up here. But we need to keep track of stuff where we might want to change it, right? So for example, the button here, this thing says, hey, here is our button state. And I guess there's a couple options. One is we could like pass in functions to retrieve the button state, which isn't crazy. That would still make it feel pretty immediate mode. Then you don't have to pass in the app every time. Yeah, that's not crazy. The other option would be that we like we return like a handle to the button, and the app can say like, button, could you change your state, please? But I kind of like the idea that the button just gets to like call into the app when it feels like it. I'm sure that like we'll discover that that sucks for some reason down the line, but it feels fine for now. So like fuck it. Fuck it. Because that makes everything really easy. The other thing we could do is we could just pass a pointer. A pointer is less flexible than a function pointer. I don't really know if there's like heavy implications of using function pointers so heavily everywhere. I don't know if that's gonna like make the GUI slow. I would assume it's like not noticeable, right? Like Zig uses allocator function pointers all the fucking time. I mean, the allocator is slow, but that's not why. I don't really see a problem with it. So how would that work? This guy has a context. Okay, first of all, we're going to have to reduce, reuse, recycle, but more importantly, reduce the amount of shit that we have to deal with right now. I think that that will make things easier. So let's just start with a label. We'll get rid of everything but labels. And let's just see if this let's see if this works. Fuck. 814. What's he pissed off about? Layout. Oh. Fine. Okay, so we should see one label here. Fuck, wrong app. Fucking control R. Okay, so we have one label here. Now, let's see what happens now if we just swap this to say, instead of passing in a text, here's a function that will get us some text. Okay, so this is going to be like text function, get text, I guess we'll call it, is a function pointer that returns, that takes in some sort of like any opaque, and returns const u8. Okay. So this is just like this. This is like this. And I guess what we're gonna have to do is if we want this stuff to change over time, that means that like we are not going to like do this stuff now. We're not gonna like create the text buffer now. We're going to create the text buffer on like relayout, right? So we're gonna say like the layout system is going to, at the beginning of each frame, say, hey guys, like double check. Look, we're just gonna like relay ourselves out right now. We're not necessarily gonna be like in the same order as before. That's a little tricky actually, because if we wanted to do something like for each button in my app, if my app changes the number of buttons, then all of a sudden we have a fucking problem. But I guess in that case, like doing a full on reset of the layout isn't crazy, right? We can kind of like only reset the layout if that happens, but that means we have to know if that happens. In which case, how do we want to manage this, right? The inner frame state now, we have like we want to like not care that the layout changed while also keeping state between layout, like between frames. Are those like two concepts at odds with each other? Maybe. I mean, we could just type like needs relayout somewhere. That's not insane. So like we can start modeling this now to kind of get out of this. So we can say like labels here is going to be like an array list of strings, right? Maybe this is literally just a count actually. And we'll make it so that like we can press a button to increase the number of labels. Okay, so we'll like say on spacebar we'll get a new label or something. We want to like in the world where we need to track our own relayouts, we would go something like previous like app layout state, and this would just have like num labels in here, right? And we would say like this frame, get me the layout state. Is it different? That's not awful. I think we could probably live with that. We could probably live with that. Another option here is that like we generate like a tree of widgets every frame. And then if the tree matches up, we just don't change anything. That's like definitely another option. But I'm okay with this strategy. This strategy of just saying like, okay, fuck it. We'll call relayout, and it's not hard for us to know if we need to relayout. That's not crazy. Like in the case of like our image editor, in the case of the image editor, right? Like an example of when we need relayout is if I like change which object I'm looking at, right? So here I've like, I want to go into like text view. Here I'm like, I need relayout if I switch to the background view. And that's like pretty obvious, right? And so like in our image application, we would say app state has like needs layouts, like last layout state would contain like the current object ID. But other than that, we wouldn't actually have to contain that much. I guess the object list would be like only relayout in the case where we have an object list on the side here. It would only relayout if the number of objects changed. Yeah, both of those are pretty clean, pretty straightforward. Yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm sure that maybe there are cases where this is gonna like become a pain in the ass, but for now, I think we're just gonna go like needs relayout, or maybe we'll say like get layout state. Okay. And then we can do something that's like, you know, we just return, do you know HTML? A little bit. Not very well. Enough to get by. I use this a lot. This is my TV tracking website, right? So this is like all of the shows I've ever watched, etc. And I wrote this, so you know, enough to like write some widgets, not enough to do anything like complex. Okay. Yeah, that seems reasonable. And so I guess we'll say like needs relayout given previous. We'll just say like and self. I'm currently learning HTML. Cool. I don't really care. No offense. Good for you though. So if these things are different, then we need relayout. Okay. And all right. This is coming together. This is coming together. So now we're going to have in the main loop, we'll be like, I guess we're gonna have some sort of function that's like generate layout for app. This is gonna take in our app as well as and then return a layout of UI action. Oh yeah, that feels good. All of this stuff that we're calling down here, wherever the fuck this is, womp womp womp, which I guess right now is really like not very much at all. He needs an allocator. I don't care if you. It's okay if you don't care. I simply understand why you don't care. It just doesn't impact you anyway, so it's understandable. I'm doing it for myself. But you're not typing in chat for yourself. Well, I guess you are. But like you're typing in chat for a reason. And what I was kind of hinting at was you don't have to type in chat. You're learning HTML. Okay, so this is gonna take this in. You're gonna take in a TTF. He's gonna take in a distance field renderer. And this might end up being like a layout generator class later. But here we're gonna put in distance field renderer. For now, we'll just pass everything in. We might change our minds later. I guess actually this stuff is kind of like stored long term, so maybe it makes more sense to pass in the shared label state like this. Yeah, maybe that makes more sense. Which means that this stuff can kind of live up here, wherever the fuck it actually lived before. Nice, and then we just have like generate layout for app. Okay. Okay. And then we pass in our shared label state like this. Chillin'. Sure. That seems reasonable. Then here on each, this goat was now in here. Yep. And now we can say like, if app get layout state, we'll say like current layout state. If the previous layout state, I guess we just store that somewhere. Okay. If previous layout state needs relayout given the current layout state, we say self layout dinit, okay, with our allocator, and we assign him now with generate layout for app. Yes. Look at it, it's all coming together. Okay, this surely can fail. Surely. So this needs like a little exclamation point. And okay, cool. So this now this has to go for like 0 to app non-labels. This, and then 611. What's this pissed off about? Right, because I forgot we started throwing in all of this stuff about relayout. We actually have to do the relayout here. So there's two things that we're working on at once now. There is the ability to adjust the content of a widget without needing to like create new widgets, and then there's also the ability to create new widgets when we need to. So here we have this like get text function, and we were gonna say like we're gonna just call like update, I guess. right? That kind of seems reasonable. Um, and in this update function, we're just gonna do whatever we used to do in init, probably. Um, right, basically like update the text. We like reassign the text buffer here. I guess this, yeah, we reassign the text buffer given the latest text. So I guess here we can do like make update make text buffer from text that takes in a text renderer and some text. Okay, that seems reasonable. Which just basically does all of this stuff. Okay. Yep. Label state text. So this is text renderer like this. We need an allocator as well. Okay. And I guess we kind of need all of this other stuff as well. That's kind of fun. Shared label state. We need all of this stuff. This needs to stay. So I guess we stash kind of the shared state as a shared label state like this instead of stashing the text renderer. Okay. Seems reasonable so far. Okay. So we'll be like, here's the shared label state, baby. Yep. Yep. And then we go back to shared label state like this. And then this needs to return like new like text label data or something. I don't know. This is gonna be like the width of the thing, the width of the laid out text, height of the laid out text, and the buffer, which was a text renderer buffer. Okay. Okay, so this then just returns like this stuff as well as the buffer. Sure. Seems reasonable. Okay. All of this is starting to make sense. So here we say, I guess we probably want to cache the last text or something. Like we might want to cache like a hash of the last text. That way we can like get the current text, hash it, check if it's different, and only then regenerate. Seems reasonable. So do we have, does like Zig standard library, it must like it supports like a string hash map, which means that there must be some sort of like hashing algorithm, right? How does this shit work? Like where does this string context hash? Y hash maybe? So this string context has like a hash string function, which just comes from std hash map hash string. Is this like a thing I can use? I can. Sure, we'll do that. Text hash. So this will be a 64. Okay. Cool. Cool. So here we're gonna call like make text buffer from text, given our allocator, and the shared label state, as well as the text. Okay, which means that we also need to pass in the context to provide to the get text function. Okay. And maybe we just store the label data as is. That seems pretty reasonable as well. Then we don't have to like I guess we can store size as a pixel size directly. Seems reasonable. Then it's like kind of like data is a label data. Boom. Okay, sure. So then we can just be like data is equal to label data like this. Wow, wow, wow. It's just like label data buffer data here. Okay. Then this goes away, this goes away. But the text hash now, we actually need to store that. So it's like text is this, get text, boom, boom. Then we need the hash. And then do we think that we need to own this shit? Nah. Nah. So now we say like text and what now? What now? What now? What now? We will see. We'll see. So we need to hash the text. So it's std hash map hash string. Okay. Seems reasonable so far. Are we missing anything? Shared is shared. Okay. So on update now, we say, yo, here's self. And let's say current text is going to be like self get text given self context. But self context, we're gonna need to give it like a little bit of a better name. So let's give it like text context. Okay. So we're like get text given self text context. We'll hash the current text, which was std hash map hash string of current text. If we'll say current hash, if current hash is not equal to the previous hash, we've got a fucking problem. There could be like hash collisions, in which case we just get fucked, I guess. That's fine by me. Right? Because maybe we'll just pick a better hashing algorithm if that comes up. But if the cases are different, we call self data is equal to make text like this. We need to store an allocator here then too, huh? That's annoying. That's annoying. Unless we pass in the allocator here. Nah, we stash it. We stash it. We pass in our allocator, we pass in our shared label state, and we pass in the current text. I guess we'll just say if these things are equal, return. Then we can kind of do everything here. So new data is this. If there's new data, we say like, if there's new data, we say d-init the old data, self data is equal to the new data, self current text hash is equal to the current hash, and is there anything else to do? No, that seems reasonable. Seems reasonable. Okay. Cool. The size now comes from self dot data size, and then on render, we need to call shared text renderer, shared text. Hello? Text renderer. Why isn't it auto-completing? From self data buffer. That seems like that makes sense. Fuck. No function named dinit here at 932. Sure. 833, he's missing something. Alec, get text context. That's true. So here we actually need this to become like a get text function. So, I guess like technically there might be like state that needs to get de-initted by this thing. Like almost certainly, right? If we're passing in like an arbitrary context pointer, well, in our case, we can just feed in the app, right? So we can be like function get. Oh, but we need to know which index we're getting from. Yes, we need to do like. We need to be like app text getter, right? Which just has like the index. And I guess that's kind of it in this scenario. App text generator, right? And then it's like literally like get text takes in self, right? And returns some text. Which, and we were kind of saying that we don't want to like free that text on the other side because like we might not have to, which means this thing actually has to cache the text. So that like the memory stays valid. Which kind of means that like this thing definitely needs like a D in it. Which means that like our label thing, maybe this gets a little bit more advanced. Right? We have like get text. Right, we could do something like this. Right? I guess. Which means that we could kind of do it like this. Right? Right? And then we have get text like this. This is getting complex. Surely this thing can fail? Maybe not. Maybe we don't allow it to fail. Which just says like self vtable get text with self context. I mean, it's not crazy. It's definitely not crazy. And then I guess now with this deinit here, like we could choose to not allocate on the heap if we wanted to, or we can. We can do either way. We can choose what we want, which isn't crazy. Right? It's not crazy. So now we have like init returns like a label text generator, which actually can exist here, I guess, sure. So it kind of does like something like this, I guess. Okay. So here we take in like get text returns a const-u8. We have d in it as well, which takes in a context. This takes in an allocator because this is going to be allocated. That's just how we're going to do it. I mean, we could also actually do it like this. We could just do it inline, but I think that this will just be easier this way. Context. So we'll say like Alec create app text generator. Jesus Christ. Generator is equal to idx equal idx, and text is equal to make text. Okay. Seems reasonable. Then we're like return v table is equal to text generator v table, and the context is equal to generator. Jeez Louise. Okay. Okay. So far so good. D init is gonna be like, oh, this guy needs to stash his allocator, I guess. And then he's like, self is pointer cast align cast of context to my app text generator. We go self alloc destroy self, and then we also do self alloc free self text. Okay, cool. Make text return something. Probably this. Probably like this, and we go like hello, like stood format alloc print. Hello world. With the index. Okay. Could you avoid stashing allocators with field parent pointer? Thinking. So in that scenario, we would have to stash the label inside. I think that it would be kind of complicated. Just because like the way that memory is getting passed around, we have like a widget pointer that's allocated and owned by the widget system. You could like embed that label inside some sort of text generator, but I think that that would be like hard to reason about. I think it's possible, but maybe not ideal. Okay, here we just return our text. And we need to make our text generator vtable, which is going to be like a label text generator vtable. Dude, this is, I'm not really convinced I like this, to be honest. Not convinced. We'll see how it feels. App init, and we have get text is from get text. It does feel like a lot. It feels like a lot, but I guess we'll see. We will see. So now our label takes in a, not a get text anymore. That doesn't exist. This takes in a text generator. Wow. Oh, yeah, I thought maybe it was possible if all these widgets had a parent struct where an allocator was stored. Yeah, I can like kind of see how that would make sense. That's not kind of how it is right now, but I'll think about it. I'll think about it. Because definitely what we're doing right now is fucking a lot. Okay. Okay. So context now doesn't exist here, which is a little bit of an improvement from by some metric. And here, wherever the fuck we were calling get text before, it's like text generator get text like this now. Okay. So that was all painful, but it means now when we generate layout for app, we can say app text generator initialize with Alec and I. And pass in that here. Sure. Nah. Make text expected to arguments 856. True. This needs to be like this. We need to do an error defer. Alec destroy generator. We need to do an error defer. Alec free text. And then here we put the text like text. Boom, boom. Sure. 861. What's he pissed about now? Probably just for a try. Okay, and then what's he pissed about here? 881. We go to return that. That's a really good point. And then here, I guess we have to do something. Is there any like chance that this will change in this case? No, this is like very fixed. But maybe we should change that. 859. Missing field Alec. Right, this is a very static version of the thing. Which means that this... not sure. 867, was he pissed about here? Okay. D init is mad about 848 because this... Oh, what's going on here? Oh, this is supposed to return void? Expected pointer type found. This shit, 874. This needs to be a pointer. True. This also has to be a pointer. We're getting somewhere. 643. He wants a shared label state. Const, I guess makes sense. 694 is pissed about. What is he pissed about? No field width in label data. True. This is supposed to be in the size field. No field name text render in label. 651. Render. Whoa. Text. Whoa. Oh, true. This is text generator, actually. Okay. Then at 892, what's he pissed about? We do need to return our layout here, which means this is only an error defer here, which makes sense. And then probably this thing somewhere we have like var here instead of const. 953 needs an allocator. 664 is like this buffer field doesn't exist. Okay. Okay, fine. And like self dot data buffer, I guess it is now. True. And then 620, he's like, return this shit, please. All right. So now we have hello world 0, and can we make it so that when we click the space bar, which is what all this was for, we want to add a new thing, right? So we're going to be like dispatch input, handle inputs. So here can do like, what are our action things here? Read item. Q is of window action. So we have like key down. Okay. And here, I guess we will pass in app here as well, just as like a, I'm not so sure about this, but it's fine. we like, I guess, yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. If key is equal to key is equal to, where does these come from? This is a GLFW thing, which is kind of fucking weird as well. We'll say app.num labels plus equals 1. Okay. So what we should expect here is, I don't know yet. I don't know yet. Okay, that's good. So that's triggering relayout? Oh, because of this. Nice. Okay. Now, let's make another button. Let's make another button that changes what the text should say, right? So instead of adding new text, we will adjust the existing text. And that, I think, will require us to call the update functions. So that makes it so these like app text generators that we pass in. Do what? I guess we will just append like some state from the app. Yeah, we'll do this. Increment counter. That's exactly what I was thinking. Hello, how's it going? Not bad. I think that our GUI framework's getting a little out of control. But we'll see. So here we'll stash a pointer to the app. Here. And we'll just make it so that on get text, it's like our responsibility here to be like, here we're like last count. So in here we'll say like times pressed. It can't be bargained with, it can't be reasoned with, it doesn't feel pity or remorse or fear. It absolutely won't stop ever until you are dead. Are you talking about my GUI framework? No. Okay. So I guess here our make text now will append like widget this pressed this. Num times pressed. So this takes in like another usize. And then when we call make text, we pass in like the app dot times pressed. Okay. And then on get text here, we go like last count is equal to app times pressed. And then here we go like if self last count. You know, that's fine. It's fine. This is kind of like a weird use case where I don't really think that generally these like adapters would be making the text data here. I think that they would be like just presenting something that existed in the application. Right, so this is kind of like a strange use case, but it is nice to be able to test this, so it's fine. Here we do like new text equals to try self make text with self allocator, self idx and app dot times pressed. We say self text. We free the old text. Okay. And then we say self text equal to new text. Boom. And self time last count is equal to app times pressed. And then we just increment this thing when we see like a else if key.key is equal to, I don't know, like a. This increment times pressed. Okay. Fuck. What's this about here? Here I need to put just no ampersand. Nums times pressed. What the fuck? 902? Oh. I was just like fully out to lunch. Expected this, found that at 903. Oh, true. So this thing we said we can't fail here. So we just like return the old text. Shut the fuck up. It's fine. Heavy deduction of error points if you missed the term reference. Fuck, I did. I did. Okay, so, oh. Why is that working? Oh, I guess it is just calling into the app frame. Okay. I guess that's working. I didn't really expect that to work, to be honest, but I guess it is. You swearing every time a compilation fails makes me smile. I mean, it's how I feel. It pisses me off. Okay. So I guess that means the concept of like having a function that calls into the application makes sense. Okay. Okay. This is definitely like a lot. We could probably reduce complexity for the like general case where you just have like a constant label with like a you could make like a constant label adapter that's pretty straightforward. And you could even maybe like make a variant of the label function that takes in just raw text and like spits that out underneath. Is this an immediate mode GUI as well or retained? I don't know. We're kind of like converting it into something where we have like a long-term layout. I don't remember why we were doing that, but we are doing it. Because when we were dragging a float, we wanted to remember where the drag started from. All of this stemmed from that. Okay, so I guess in that, uh, in the spirit of that, let's try to bring the drag float back now with the new ideas. So here we'll do like the drag style, we'll put here. We'll pass that in here, I think. Then when we generate our shit, we put this thing in the layout, which needs the drag style here. Okay, and then does this thing want it? How does he want it? He does just want it like as a deref thing. Okay. Does that work as is? No. Why? 763. Because this thing generates a label, which is like totally different now. So here we have text that is backed by our floating point value, which means that here, instead of passing the value, we want to actually just pass in the label text generator here. No, we don't. Because we also need to know the value ourselves. So we need our own. We need our own val retriever or something, which has a function get val. I guess that's what we need. Okay. which means that we need a v table on this thing, right? It takes, and that means that we need like a v table is a v table, and a, the context is an any opaque. Then here we need like the ability to retrieve the value, so we go like get val is or is a const function pointer to something that takes in a context and returns an F32. And presumably this thing has D in it as well. Like kind of just presumably. Retaining gets hard, lots of invalidation regs. Well, I think we're still going to re-layout every frame. It's just we have some sort of like inner frame state that we also need. So I think we're going to like kind of like construct a like chunk of widgets, hold onto those widgets, and say, okay, like these widgets get updated every frame. They're going to relay themselves out, but at least this way I can like hold state in those widgets between frames. And then if we like construct a set of new widgets, then we go, okay, like wipe those ones out, we'll make new ones, it doesn't matter. Because anytime where you're doing a relayout on something, it's probably like fine to like if you're relaying out, like any like inner frame widget state can get nuked. Like fuck it, ImGUI does retain a lot of memory using static and C. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to avoid. Fuck that shit. So this calls vtable get val with self ctx. Does Zig have static memory? Yeah, it does, but fuck that shit. I want it to be very like I don't like it. I don't think that like the ID system in ImGUI is like it's cheating. It's hiding stuff from you. It makes you think that these things behave in ways that they don't. Right? The idea that like you type like a label name on something and then it's like, oh no, shit, somebody else has the same label name. How the fuck am I supposed to know which one it is? It's like, why are we doing it like this, guys? What are we doing? Like, just let me manage the state like I want. Like global memory no local scope. Yeah, you can do that. Yep. Kind of. You just define a struct. It's kind of fun. A little hack. You can do this. Var x equals 4, and then you can say like global dot x plus equals 1. And because like this is like I don't know if this is like does like good design or like a fun little side effect, but because you can define structs within a function scope, and because every module is just a struct at the top level, that means that structs can have global variables, and you just have a like struct here that you have global variables in. But just because like they happen to, right? Like I don't really know if this is like intentional or if this is like just a thing that happened and it's like kind of sick. It's kind of funny either way though. Global is a type kind of. Global would be like a struct. Yeah. Like structs and namespaces and Zig are very like kind of like the same. So it would be a lot like that. Okay. So let's try feeding this thing a val retriever now. Okay. Then like this val retriever, we need like a way to like feed this like text generator with the thing we get from the val retriever. That's kind of funny. So it's like almost like we want like in here we like keep a reference to like something. Yeah, so we have this function, val retriever, get val. And we need to now feed this value into the label. And the label is like, give me some sort of function, some sort of like interface that gets those things. And so I guess to do that, we'd be like, hold on. We can get there. Label val text generator. This thing returns a label text generator. This thing holds a val retriever. Okay, okay, yeah. Hold on. This is actually kind of fun. He also maybe holds a little buffer. We'll say we can have 10-digit float 32. Okay. Then we return. We can get there. We can get there. What's in this thing again? Context is a pointer. Oh, which means that this thing needs to be like an allocated thing, which is a little annoying. Unless we can dodge this by giving him a pointer to our drag float, which is already something. Yes, we might be able to get away with this. Okay. Context equal to drag float. Okay. And vtable is equal to text generator vtable. This is getting crazy. Okay. This comes from the label text generator vtable. Okay. Which has these things. So this is gonna be like, this is val text generator get text. This is dinit. I think we can get away with not doing anything here. And get text, I think we can be like, okay, so our context here is the I think that this might not even live here, to be honest. I'm looking at this and I think that this doesn't live here. I think that this lives kind of like in the top level here. Yeah. This is self get text and dinit. Can we just be like, maybe we make dinit nullable so that we don't have to like make a null one. Hold on, we're cooking. We are so cooking. Okay. So here we're like, here's a thing. And we just implement a get text function now at the top level of our thing, of our drag float thing. And he's like, our drag float has a buffer. Oh, yeah. So he says, std format buff print into our buffer with a number of val generator get val. I think this is the way. I think this is the way. Okay, so now that gets that out of the way. So now we can literally just be like, we've created our drag float. This guy has like context is equal to a pointer cast of drag float and a vtable of text generator vtable. Oh yeah, that's not bad at all. That's not that bad. Not that bad. It's not great, but it's not that bad. Okay, so now instead of val, we keep a val generator, or val retriever we called it. And then it was actually val retriever here. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Get val at 753. He's pissed because in drag float, he expected a type? Oh. Like this, my bad. Okay, and then now we have to make our thing that makes our drag or our val retriever. Okay. So here are like adjustable float retriever. He make adjustable float retriever. Takes an app and returns a drag float UI action val retriever. We're getting somewhere, okay? VTable is a one of these things. VTable. And what does he have in him? To get the thing, we're like, get val is get float from app? Question mark? We're feeling it out. So this returns an any opaque, and we're just taking the any opaque and returns an F32. And this is like const app is a pointer cast, a line cast, okay. Context. This goes back to an app, okay. We'll just return app dot adjustable float. Yeah. And then now we're just like, bitch, context is the app, and the fucking vtable is vtable. That's not that bad. This is not that bad. That's like two functions. Two functions are super doable here. And so now we're just like make adjustable float retriever given our app. Maybe missing dinit. Okay, fuck you. Dinit's optional. We don't fucking need dinits around here, bitch. Okay, I can calm down. Calm down. Calm down. Okay. So now what else did we fuck up? 792. He wants an allocator, he wants the text generator, he wants a label state. And he's saying expected type shared label state found shared label state. Okay. So this thing takes in a const pointer now. This is now shared forever and ever and ever. Amen. Which means that whoever calls this needs to not dereference this. Okay. 797. Bruh, vtable is in CPP vtable. I mean, I think vtable is in like list of functions. List of functions. Cannot return an error at 8:15. It cannot return an error, but also, oh, I see. Or else, return. I guess we'll just kind of like fail out in that case. Something I don't know. Like, don't give a shit. 797 val retriever. Val retriever. Self vtable get val is pissed off because no field name val. Okay, so 761. He's like, bitch, what are we doing? That's true. That's true. We do need to return values that we want to return. Classic. Drag generator. It's an action. So what's he pissed about here? Oh, because self.val doesn't exist. Okay. Current val is equal to self val retriever get val, which means that we can now use current val here. But we don't want to use current val. That was the whole point of this. The whole point of this was that we wanted the start val somewhere. We want to stash that shit. That was the whole point. But we'll leave it like this for now, just to get back to like the current state without changing too much. Here he wants the drag style, because we are now creating a dragger, and at 8:17 he's like, bitch, no space left. Catch, not or else. Okay. Oh, wow. We fucked up bad, dude. So val retriever get val is pissed off at 8:17. That's here. Huh, I wonder why. I actually do not understand why, because here we like, I guess we just fucking run it. All right, what's he pissed about? So we are coming from drag float here. We're like, yo, here is a label generator. And immediately he's like, what the fuck? Oh, because we didn't initialize. I see. Because we're passing in this thing, but he's getting called immediately, which means that we kind of need to do. We kind of need to like half initialize this thing. Ew. I see, because label init calls this shit. Does he have to call that shit? Maybe we just don't generate the text until the first round of updates. Not crazy. I feel like we never implemented widget update, and I don't really understand why that's not causing problems, to be honest. Right? I don't feel like we ever use this function. So I'm back to being confused about how the label is getting like the updated state. Actually, I'm confused a lot, but we'll figure it out. Okay, so back to this bullshit, where the label generator is using the drag float before he's initialized. We just have to go like this. Which is bad, but you can't stop me. Okay, this is all... it's fine. That should fix the crash at least. Okay, so I press space here, and then I drag on this thing, and that's... Now we're back to everything working. By some metric working. Now, what I'm very confused about is why when I press A, that pressed value is going up. Because I'm back to thinking that it shouldn't. I'm back to thinking that it shouldn't because we just have to look at the path here. So on each frame, we are going into the render function, which will eventually call the label render function. Right down here somewhere. In the label render function, we literally just reuse our existing data buffer. So we're like, this is only getting called on update and init, and update's never called, as far as I understand. As far as I understand, update is never called, which means that we must be like forcing a regenerate. This must be happening every frame. It's the only explanation, which it shouldn't be. Ah, I see. It's if I ever press spacebar, because we're not doing previous layout state to current layout state. We just didn't. That makes more sense. Okay. Okay. So now, if I press A, nothing happens. I press spacebar, it updates. A, no updates. Spacebar, they update. There we go. Okay. So now we have to hook up the update function to the widget system. So our widgets, he needs like an update function. Probably nullable, right? Theoretically, you could have a widget that never requires any updates, in which case, why the fuck would we force it? And then in the label, we just have to assign that thing. So we go update. Nope. Update. Let's go self update. There we go. And this will probably fail now because, like, who the fuck knows? Any opaque void, our update function is failable, which I guess is kind of fair, to be honest. Can we put like a slap any error on this thing? Okay, and then no field name Alec here in 690. That's true. That's true. Okay. A space A space. Right. So now somebody actually has to call update at the beginning of each frame. So here we're gonna call like. Do we dispatch the input first or do we update first? I think we probably call update first. So here we're literally just like rip through every single widget and update that shit. Which needs a like little helper function on him, I guess. Which is like if we have a vtable update function, we rip that shit with our context. User, and thanks for the tier 1, much appreciated. And then that means that we can call update here. And then we probably need to try here as well. Update error unit is ignored. We probably need to do like try here, I guess. Error unit is ignored at 1096. Try here, okay. Hey. Oh, we're so back, baby. We're so back. Okay, so what's happening here is we have one layout cached at the start of the app. When I press A, it says, hey, we need to read like the layout, the label widget notices that the text has changed because the label widget now calls into like this like app text generator thing. He goes like, hey, this is the new text. And we're like, whoa, that's different than the hash of the text we used last time. Let's make some new text. And so when I press A and the label is updated, he calls into OpenGL stuff to like generate a whole new set of like buffers that reference different areas of the texture atlas, and goes like, okay, here's the new stuff. And that only happens, I think, when A is pressed. Then when I press space, that goes like, holy shit, we need a whole new set of widgets. A whole new set, because like now everything's different. Things are different. Okay. Sick. Okay, we need to apply the same change, the update change, to the drag float thing. This guy needs an update function as well. So that comes from here. And what does he even do? Why does he need to? So he needs to basically ask the layouts, the layout that he's sitting on underneath. He needs to ask that layout to update. Sorry, label. So he just really needs to do this. That's kind of like React. Yeah, I guess so. Okay, so now this is working again. And now, after like an hour and a half of refactoring, we should be in a state where we can make this drag float remember where the mouse was clicked. That was what all of this was for. So that when we were like in the dragging state, we could be like, initial value. That was what all of this was for. So it was so that when we go into this set input state, this we go if. So here we want to see if the mouse went down on this frame, right? So we want to be like, if the self state was not equal to dragging, we go new state, dragging time with the mouse. We use the existing, we use self val retriever get val here. So now we go, okay, remember what the fuck we started with. Now, here we should only update. Here we are assuming if we have a mouse down location. I don't know if we can make that assumption that like we started. I'm not sure we can make the assumption that the mouse drag started here. I guess, but all of this drag generation stuff should only happen if the mouse down location contained it. Right. So now we can assume that the state is dragging. And we can say that the starting val was equal to self state dragging. How do I get the thing out of this? Do I just do this? And then can I do like start val like this? Might make sense for widgets to gain a hasher method. For what purpose? Oh, that's so sick, baby. We fucking got there. So now we can like kind of like drag this shit around. And it's like, it remembers where we clicked. Oh, that's so sick, man. We fucking got there. Okay, so now obviously like the rendering in this thing is like fucking stupid, right? We probably want to limit the number of decimals on this thing too and stuff. And we also need to make the text kind of fit kind of within one location inside this thing. So, but the core of the thing is there. Okay, so let's just fucking fix the render function. This should be easy. This should be easy. So we should be able to calculate the label widget bounds as like something that sits behind some like by someone. So we should be able to know like what the label desired size is. We're like, hey, you want to be this big. And so we need to just kind of like offset you such that you're centered in our widget, right? So we want like, hold on, let's open paint. So each widget could contribute to an entire app hash. Oh, instead of like a manual relayout type shit? That's not crazy. I think I'm okay with the manual relayout, but I can kind of see where you're coming from too, where like you can you can just like check if you need relayout by just like hashing the whole thing. Yeah, it's not crazy, not crazy. We'll see if that comes up. Okay, so if I have like some text in here, I have TW is this. We have, you know, bounds width here. We have bounds width minus text width is kind of like this plus this. So we divide that by 2 to get the offsets. Label size width widget bounds width minus this. So our like widget width is kind of like this. Do we care about like floating point? Probably not. It's probably fine to do this. Div trunk this too. So we call this x offs, label x offs. Label y offs is the same thing but with height. And then we just say constant of label bounds is going to be the same. It's like going to be like kind of like derived from our bounds, but different. So it's like left is the widget bounds, left plus the x offset, right is the right minus label offset. There's probably a bug in here about like off by ones. So probably our like label, we're probably supposed to do some sort of like even odd shit. like our text is kind of expecting to be at some like exact pixel width, and not respecting that will probably kind of squish everything by like a quarter of a pixel or whatever. But we'll kind of just live with that for now. Okay, we fucked up. uh, top and bottom, not left and right. Okay, let's make our thing a little taller, or maybe our text smaller. I wish I was a baller. Shut the fuck up. Okay. Yeah, okay, so now this thing kind of fits in there. He's looking pretty centered, if I do say myself. Let's now try to draw the background of our dragger according to our style. So we want to do, I wonder if we should like abuse our like shared button state. We could abuse this. Like a lot, like the existing button thing. He really owns all of the same things we want. Because he basically just draws a like a rectangle in the background that you can set a color on. And so all of this is like exactly the fucking same. So this is button is not button. This happens to be exactly what we need for drag value. Unsure if that means copy paste or not. Yeah, I don't know. Some way to only relay out widget trees when hash changes seems valuable. Maybe each widget just caches its hash. I don't care. I don't know. Sorry. K and C get mixed up in my head. Yeah, I mean, I think you're not wrong. But I think that in my scenario, I know when I need a relay out, and so I don't think I need to like bake that in, if that makes sense. This is kind of like the advantage of me writing my own GUI framework, is I only have to take on the complexity of things that I want to do, right? And so like I think that like the widget hashing doesn't really gain me much more than like this like needs relay out thing. Like this is like pretty. I think this is like relatively straightforward to implement correctly. And so it's like I just don't need a hashing system, I think. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I'm a fan of like discovering why you need something by fucking it up the whole way. Okay. So I think that we're just gonna abuse this thing for now and take in a button state. And here we'll put a button state here. Probably can be const. And then on render, we can just be like widget to clip transform given our widget bounds and the window bounds. And then we call it self button state dot render with our color. Color widget bounds. What was the last thing? Transform. Why does he need widget bounds here? Oh, to calculate the pixel size, like the size of pixels, sure. So we go like switch on self state. If we are in the dragging state, we return self style dot active color. We're hovered, we return the hover color. And if we're default, we return the default color. All right, and then just on init of this thing now, we just need to pass in the button state. Oh, we also need to stash that shit somewhere. I'm gonna put a fix me on here and just be like, ew, undefined, gross, black. It's easier to, I don't know if I already read this, but hey Raggy, long time no see. Welcome back. Welcome back. I hope this isn't like that's like not annoying. Like when I go to like Subway and the girl at the counter is like, "Oh, you ordered a different sandwich today." That makes me be like, "I'm never going to fucking come back here." Right? So I hope I'm not doing that to you by being like hello. But also, I think that like it's possible that it's nice to acknowledge, you know? It's hard to say. Shared button state. I think we'll pass in here. Yeah, man, busy. Always fun to come by. Hey, thanks, man. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. Okay, button state. And then here, somewhere we had like some shared button state here. Guess we can just kind of use this here. Boom. And this needs the button style, I guess. Okay. I don't really know why, but it's fine. We are prototyping. Okay. Fuck! 1127. What's complaining here? Probably shared button state as well here. Tell me that's not sick. The hover state's not working? Hover state's not working, so drag float needs the handle input. We do say if the widget bounds contains this, go to hover state. And the mouse down location should not be set. So I'm actually kind of surprised that this is not working. It feels like it should be. Hovered, we go to hover color. Can we just like quickly just do like std debug print render state is self state? Like, am I missing something? Oh, he is always hovered. That's a really good point. There's nothing that takes him out of the hover state. Else, self state equal default. This is the problem when you have retained state now, you have to put it back. There we go. Tell me that's not fucking sick. Tell me that's not fucking sick, dude. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Obviously a lot of like UI kind of like fixes to make as well as code fixes. Pretty much everywhere is like not very good, but this is kind of like the core of the widget, right? You hover, you click, you drag. You hover, you click, you drag. You hover, you click, you drag. That's so awesome. I'm actually like pretty stoked on that. And I think that is an excellent place to call it for the day. It is 4:12, which is a little bit, we just missed the target. We target a 4 o'clock end time. And so this is pretty close. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. If you like what you saw, we stream most days at around 12:30 Pacific time to 4 o'clock Pacific time. It is 4:15 now, so anywhere between 3 hours and 45 minutes ago and now is when you should expect to see us live if you are watching live. If you are watching live and you're like, I can't watch you every day, that's crazy, but I do want to watch your YouTube VODs. These are available. If there's a link to YouTube in the Twitch description, where all of the main streams are archived here. If you want to watch the 12:30 to 2 segment, which we call happy hour, which is like less of new feature development, major progress, and more of like minor cleanup, things that don't deserve their own video, research, refactoring, stuff like that. Those are available archived on Patreon and YouTube member streams. Today in happy hour, we were working on adding the little squircle corners to our shit. I guess I didn't need to close this to show it. Yeah, you know, these little rounded corners here. They were square before, they're round now. That was our happy hour thing for today. So if you want to see stuff like that, check out the YouTube member section or Patreon. Otherwise, that's it. YouTube, peace out. Twitch, let's find someone to raid.